This is Elizabeth Gearhart with Fireside. I am here with Marcella Gencarelli, who will be interviewing Jean Sower today, and great stuff. Hi, Marcella.
Oh, hello, Elizabeth. It's so nice to be here and very nice to be here with Jean. Jean, welcome.
Hi, Marcella. How are you? Good to see
I
you
am
again.
well today. It's absolutely a beautiful day. It's raining, pouring, it's dark, but it's beautiful because we're here and we're here to talk to you. We're here to ask you the very first question. Why do clients like to work with you?
Well, I think clients like to work with Samson Media because I like to tell things straight. I like to give them good advice. I don't really come at it from a sales perspective necessarily. I'm very empathetic, and I don't like people to waste their money because, if the client's happy, then I'm happy. And if I'm unhappy, they're happy. So it's sort of, I like to do a successful job. And, I've even talked myself out of a lot of search engine optimization jobs because sometimes it's just not right for them. And, they have illusions of grandeur. And I'll often, try to shed some reality to it. And sometimes, we wind up don't doing the project. So I think people appreciate, the honesty that we bring to it.
Very nice. Very interesting. Samson Media, when I had first met you, the name struck me. So I know that this might come as a left field question, but what was your inspiration for the name? Because it's a very strong name.
Well, it's actually named after my son. My son is named Samson, and he's 28 years old. He lives in Georgia. He's married. I had a lot to do with naming him. My wife and I, we went through the whole, like, what should we name the baby kind of thing. And it's kind of a weird story, but, growing up with the name Jean, I wanted to name him something that was so masculine that there would never be any, issue with the name. I didn't want it to have to go through those kinds of things that I went through. I mean, as an adult, I don't care anymore. But as a child, growing up as the name Jean wouldn't have been my first choice. But I was named after my father. So had his name been Ignatz, my mother would have named me Ignatz. It really didn't make a difference. So that's why I picked Samson. And then it made for a good logo. And our initial tagline was Samson Media's strength in marketing.
Very nice. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing. Thank you very much for sharing. So if you could go a little bit deeper as to what sets you apart from other folks that are in the same field as you.
Well, I think the thing that really makes Samson Media different is the fact that I was in public relations and video production for about 20 years before I started Samson Media. So my grounding has always been where we put the client at the center of the effort. We wanted to make sure that the client was the star of the show, that we're very attuned to getting their message out, as opposed to a lot of my competitors. They are, they went to design school. They really approach website development more as an art project than more as a business tool. So I think we come at it from that perspective first. Building an attractive, well laid out website is a given to me. It's really, what do you want that website to do? What is the functionality? That's why, our newer tagline now is Samson Media. We put your website to work. Because we expect the website to really, help you grow or manage your business, not just be a brochure.
That's great. So who are your typical clients?
Well, if I had to say a typical client, I guess it's really small, medium-sized businesses. We have everything from a lot of law firms and some medical clients. We have the Short Hill Surgery Center. We have some retailers, who've taken a bit of a beating during the pandemic, but a lot of them have actually come back. We have some investment firms. We have a lot of coaches, a lot of executive coaches, life coaches, things like that. I'd say the best kind of client, though, for us is somebody who is big enough that they have some internal resources devoted to sort of working with us. Because I really think that online marketing and digital marketing, it's really a team sport. So we have some clients where we're completely self-directed. We do everything ourselves, and they just, they just go along with it, which is fine. But I think the best experiences overall are when the clients are actually directing us, participating, sending us material. They're involved, and they appreciate and value what we do, and they contribute to what we do, because 1 + 1 is really 3 when it comes to working with an agency like ours.
Very nice. Very, very interesting. It's a very interesting, valid point that you brought. So what does the process look like when you're working with a client, like from start to finish? Like
It's really, well, let me just break it down in terms of, like, we have 2 basic types of clients. One is that we're basically doing just websites, and the other is we're doing websites and a marketing plan, or some we're doing just the marketing plan, they already have the website. So either way, it starts with a questionnaire. So we have an onboarding questionnaire. After we have a conversation, I've sort of led them through the process. I've given them information. I've told them, my take on whatever challenge they're trying to do. And then we send them a 3 to 4 page questionnaire. It's like an onboarding questionnaire. It asks them, everything from, what is their keyword wish list that they want to come up for on a Google search, to other websites that they might like or want to emulate. What's their colors? Do they have a logo? Things like that. So.
So you do like a deep dive into what.
Yeah, it starts with a conversation, goes to the questionnaire, and then we sort of review the questionnaire, and we'll do a follow up and try to figure, if there's any holes in the questionnaire that they haven't responded to. I'll just call them up and ask them. Like, so what's this, that, the other thing. So. All the jobs start with me, and then get sort of disseminated out to the team.
So
Elizabeth?
Yeah, Jean, I have to. So Jean, I have to ask you this. You and I were speaking before we started this. You come from a video production background. How much video do you encourage people to use on their websites? I recently heard that video makes your website rise up in the Google rankings. Is that even true?
Well, that may be true, but the way we use video, and we do recommend video, again, from a search engine optimization, from an SEO perspective, is that time spent on site is a top 5 ranking factor. So the more, when somebody comes to your site and spends, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, which is, eons in terms of the internet, that is a good ranking fact. It tells Google that they found what they were looking for and stayed long enough to actually consume that information. So having a video on your homepage or on your website, somewhere, actually makes them stay a little longer because they watched the video. Mm-hmm. So from that perspective, I'm a big fan of videos, really from an SEO perspective.
So what about your clients who hate being on video?
Well, there's a lot of different ways. You don't have to be on camera. You can take a lot of, we have clients that do, whatever, it could be a restaurant. Maybe they have a lot of location pictures or pictures of the food, and we can just put that to a voice track or even just set to music. There's a lot of different ways. It does not have to be a talking head. It doesn't have to be the owner. We do a lot of things now, actually. The big thing that we've been doing is recording remote video testimonials. So the client will set us up. They'll just introduce us to their client, and we call them, email them. We set up a mutual date and time, and then we do a virtual recording like we're doing here, and then we edit that and put that on the website, and we create video testimonials, which again, there, you're getting double goodness there, because not only are the people watching the testimonials and spending more time, but you're actually hearing from third-party people who are endorsing that business. So it's a brilliant strategy.
And it's not fake. Like, written ones can be fake. Like, you could have some.
Exactly.
Yeah. But if you're seeing the person talking, it's a real testimony. I think those are hugely powerful. So
Yes.
those are great video ideas for business owners who may not feel comfortable on video, but need video for their business.
Oh yeah, yeah. The owner does not have. In fact, often, exactly, they're not comfortable. They're not good on video. Just whatever. It's just the owner, is the least of it. Really, they don't have to be. There's many ways to get around that. Absolutely.
Excellent. Marcella, back to you.
That's great. Well, no, that on the video side, well, I'll stay a little longer on that. That's okay. How often should you change your video online? Should it be a work in progress? Should it be something that makes a statement about you?
Well, it depends on the type of video. If you mean like an introductory video, like, hi, I'm Gene Sower, this is Samson Media. I mean, I would say maybe you change that once or twice a year. But basically, to do ongoing videos, you should really have an area of your website that is really earmarked to be updated on a frequent basis, such as your blog. We're huge on blogging. Blogging is probably the number one way to help your own SEO efforts. And by putting updated informational videos on your blog, it's the perfect thing, because not only are you giving updated content, which the search engines love, but you're also communicating a message, and then all of the things that I said before. It's keeping them on the site longer. Every video that you post, as I was speaking with Elizabeth before, we're both big fans of YouTube. By putting the video on YouTube and also embedding it on your website, you're getting the best of both worlds, because you may come up in a YouTube search separately from having the video actually come up on your own web page or blog. So I'd say, to answer your question simply, if you're doing an overview video, maybe once or twice a year. If you're doing ongoing things, I'd say, if you did it maybe once a month, and you put that on your blog. And I understand that video for a lot of businesses it's a complicated thing. It's not only it can be complicated for the business owner, and then it's also to not only create it, but some of them are camera shy. They don't understand that there's many different ways to do it, and it can be expensive too. It's a lot more expensive to put a video together and edit it than it is to just put up some text in a blog post. So.
Okay. Right, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Could you share with us, and obviously without names, some success stories?
Yes, actually, and this relates to SEO again. I had a relationship with. I used to do a lot of work in the pet industry, and dogs and cats and stuff like that. And there was a company that I was working with, and he says to me, he goes, Gene, I'm not coming up for Pet Store Association. They were an association for independent pet retailers. So they would offer, like group insurance and group advertising, whatever. So, by being a member of the association, you got different benefits. And he says, we're not coming up for Pet Store Association when you do a Google search. So I was like, well, let me take a look. So I go to their website, and nowhere on the website did it actually say the words Pet Store Association.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, so this was almost like too easy. So we redid their pages, and we put Pet Store Association, wove it throughout the site, and now they come up like number 3 to this day. And that was probably several years ago. So in order to come up for the keywords that you want to come up for, you need to have those keywords actually on your site, which I know sounds very obvious, but some businesses, they say, oh, I already come up in a search because somebody's looking for the name of their business. Of course you're going to come up if they're looking for the name of your business. It's when they don't know the name of your business and they're looking for the products or services that you sell, that's when you want to come up. So you need to have the keywords. So I had a dentist, for instance, also. She perfectly legit to piggyback on brand names. So she was a dentist who did the teeth straightening, right? And she sold Invisalign. You all know Invisalign, right? Right. So we put Invisalign dentist, all over the site, especially on the Invisalign page that we created. And then she started getting, coming up in the searches in her area, and people were looking for an Invisalign dentist just by letting the search engines know that she offered this product or service, which was based around the keyword Invisalign dentist.
Wow. Well, so sometimes the obvious is actually, something that you should be looking at.
Yes.
Interesting. I love it. I love it. So then with your follow-up, would you say most people do check-ins? Like, how does that process work? Like when you're if I were working with you, how often do I need to engage with you? Is it monthly? Is it weekly? How does that work?
Well, if we never hear from you, we reach out to you once a month with assuming we're doing like the marketing. Once we do the website and the website is launched, we don't really, we don't really interact with the client because they're not using us for those services. But on an ongoing basis, which is the thing that we want to be doing, basically we reach out to you at least once a month because we provide a detailed report that shows the progress that we're making with your SEO and your keyword rankings and your site traffic and all of that. And then the other thing is, I know this again, speaking of the obvious, clients can call me anytime. So we actually answer the phone. Yes, we actually do. We have our phone number actually listed on our website and we'll answer it. And then if we can't speak to you, we call you back. It's an amazing thing, I know, but I think it's those little things that really set people apart,
Mm-hmm. So would you say that personal touch, that interaction kind of does differentiate you from others?
I don't think it, let's put it this way. A lot of my competitors already do that and some don't. So again, I think the thing that differentiates us is more of the marketing and PR background, but in terms of the things that keeps clients staying with us, because I would say we've had clients, with us now for 5, 6, 7 years. And I would think that has a lot to do with, because I remember even back in the video days, and I really take this to heart. I think clients, they love results, they love good results, but I think it's really how you make them feel. If the process is good and they like dealing with you, even if the results are less than stellar, they still feel good about you and the process, as opposed to doing a great job and you treat them rudely or you don't call them. It's sort of like, I mean, of course you want everything to be great all along, but sometimes, I think it's really that personal connection and just, talking with people and really listening to people, I think is really a big plus. And like I said earlier, I have a lot of coaches as clients. Mm-hmm. I almost consider myself the coach's coach when it comes to digital marketing, because here they're giving all this advice about life and getting jobs and whatever, but I'm the one who really counsels them on how to get their brand out there.
I have a question. I have another question for you. How often should you redo your website? And also, could you say a little bit about how websites have changed even in the last 5 or 6 years? Because it's constantly evolving, right?
Yes. I change our website probably about once a year, but going back to the blog, we blog constantly. So I just put up a new blog post yesterday. So again, you can have the website where you have your basic product and service pages, and they may not change for a year or 2 or 3, but the blog is changing all the time. We try to write at least 2 blog posts a month. And in fact, the packages that we sell, the basic package is 2 blog posts a month. Because if you do less than that, it's a little like a drop in the ocean. You want to have enough where you're really making a difference. So we recommend a minimum of 2 blog posts a month. So to answer your question, you should be updating content on the site at least twice a month, if not once a week, and then having a new website or a refresh, once a year.
Okay.
And by doing the videos and putting them up, you're changing the content.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know with my husband's law firm, we post a video blog once a week. So
perfect. There you go. That's great.
Yeah, we feel it's important.
It gooses the search. It forces them to come back and index your site. Because if you don't put anything up, it comes back in a month. It says, oh, there's nothing new. It comes back in another month. There's nothing new. It comes back in 6 months. There's nothing new. And then it's going to start coming back yearly just to see like, oh, is there anything new? Where if you put it up and it sees there's something new, it forces it to come back because, again, I really just speak for Google. We don't really care about the other search engines because Google's like the biggest game in town. Is that if you give them a reason to come back, they will. They exist for one purpose only, and that's to index sites and have the most current and updated information and the most relevant information. So the easier you make it for them, the more, we always say what Google wants, Google gets.
So do you do anything else besides designing and implementing websites for people? Do you do pay-per-click advertising or anything like that?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We do a lot of Facebook advertising, pay-per-click on Facebook, which also includes Instagram. We do Google pay-per-click, but we do not have any clients that we are currently doing that for because Google pay-per-click has become so expensive that unless you're selling a really high-ticket item, like thousands of dollars, you wind up spending hundreds of dollars to get make a sale. So, early on, we had some authors that were insistent on doing pay-per-click, and they'd be spending, whatever. They're spending $1 a click, and it wind up costing them, $50 to sell a $20 book. It just doesn't add up. But even if you spend $1,000 and sell a $30,000 product, you'll do that all day long.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a certain scale of business that I think is really beyond the scope of Samson Media. And again, that's the kind of thing where clients will come to us, oh, we should do Google pay-per-click. And I really talk them out of it.
Yeah, it is expensive.
And
it's really time consuming to get it right. I know, my husband's law firm has an agency doing it for him. iHeartMedia is actually doing it for him.
okay.
There's a lot that goes into it. So
Well, I have a couple of specialists I work with. I used to dabble with it on my own, but it's become so complicated. And I always get nervous because you're spending the client's money.
Mhm.
The meter is running and you better have something to show for it.
Right, and Google always changes the rules, right? So,
Well, that's more in SEO. The pay-per-click is it's just there's so many levers and different things to it. It's become really, really very complicated. It's hugely effective if you have the budget. But in fact, we require that a client spends a minimum of $1,000 a month for 3 months. So that may sound like a lot to you. It's a lot to some people. It's a little to many others. So it just puts you in a place right there. Like if $1,000 a month is too much for you, if you think that's like, whoa, then you shouldn't even be looking at that.
right. Well, that's another point I think that we haven't made yet is that you're budget conscious for your clients, right? So you help work with their budgets, right?
Oh, absolutely. But at the same time, I'm a big advocate of saying you need to have a budget because a lot of people think, oh, social media, I'll get my kid to do it or I'll hire the intern. And that's really not going to get you much because you would ask also the other things that we do. We do a lot of social media, but we do social media as a component of other things like blogging or the video. Because again, once you have all cylinders firing, you now have content, you have a purpose to do the social media, which is to amplify your message and drive traffic back to your site. So I'm all for hiring students and interns and blah, 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 but there needs to be somebody at the top of that process that is dictating the strategy. And then, of course, implementing it is not a big deal, but it's really what is the strategy at the end of the day?
Excellent. Marcella, back to you.
No, I like the track that we're on because you're giving a lot of information because it does. Social media and the marketing piece, it's huge. It covers lots of areas and lots of space. And when someone is going to work with you, they really have to be open to say that you would know based on your experience to make those recommendations.
Yeah, I mean, if clients that, they want to get the word out, and I'll say to them, yeah, but you only have, 500 followers on Facebook, and you only have, 1,000 followers on Instagram. So when we post to that, you're just preaching to the choir. You're not reaching new people. So you really, in order to break out of your own bubble and start reaching other people, you need to do advertising. And that really either comes down to Facebook ads or Google pay-per-click, if it makes sense. And another thing that I'm a huge advocate of, and I've been doing this since the beginning, is email marketing, because you need to have a list. And again, people have, you're kind of sick of getting emails. But again, if you're getting emails from companies that are providing you with good information, who you have a relationship with, you may not read everyone, but you're going to read some of them, and some of them will lead to sales. I mean, I send out, my newsletter, I try to do it monthly. Sometimes we'll do, 3 or 4 a month, depending on what's going on. And invariably, it creates a conversation here or there. I mean, we literally get a piece of business, probably 3 or 4 times a year from sending out, our emails to our list, which we've been building for, 15 years. And, we have about 5,000 names on our list. So if I can tell you a quick story, actually, an email story. Before Samson Media, when I was in the PR and video world, at the same time, I had built a e-commerce business for pet supplies, online pet supplies. And this is where, I was doing this on the side. I'm working, I was a vice president of this production company in New York. And but I was so enamored with the internet, and that I started this e-commerce business on the side. This is before, like at the advent of e-commerce, which is another reason why I think that it's something I can offer to clients, is that I have this experience in selling on the internet. But anyway, part of the success of that business, which I eventually sold, was that I had built up an email list of 10,000 names. And the way that we did it, which is what we still advocate today, is giving away good information. So here was a health and wellness site devoted to dogs specifically. And we gave away an ebook on how to housebreak your dog in 7 days. So it was perfect, because we were trying to get in with the pet owner at the beginning of the process. They got a puppy. What's the biggest problem they have? Housebreaking. So we created this great, it was like a 30-page thing on how to housebreak your dog, based on my own experiences and things that I had read, because we house trained, a lot of my own dogs. It was based on crate training. I didn't invent the concept, but we embraced it and we packaged it and we offered it for nothing. So the process was not necessarily selling stuff. It was giving away information where they had to opt into the list in order to get the ebook. And then they'd be on the monthly newsletter list. And we grew that to 10,000 names. And when I sold that business, having an email list of 10,000 fans of my business was one of the biggest assets of that company when I sold it, was the list.
Wow.
So I think everybody needs to do some kind of list building, because you own that list. And when you have something of value, because you really want to constantly educate your clients about what your expertise is. So it's not selling. I think, as I said in the last one that we did, Marcella, it's not about always be closing.
Right.
It's always be educating. And I think as a marketer, you are the experts, and, we are all experts in whatever it is that we do. So you want to basically share your expertise, whether it's on video, blog posts, whatever.
Right. No, that was true. You did. You really drove that home during the presentation. It was very amazing. And it's very true. When someone sits down with you, though, like when you sit down with a customer, I'm thinking to myself, all the conversation I would have with you. And then you would be able to direct me to all the different nuances that would be specifically related to my business.
Yes. And again, but some of that, I'll be, very frank, is that sometimes, clients, they hire you and they still want to do what they want to do, and you can only push them so far. You can lead the horse to water. It's when you really have a meeting of the minds, and, they really, they hire you as the expert, they listen to you, and then, you know, you're able to execute on a unified vision. It's just so much better. You know, we have other clients that, you know, it's like talking to a brick wall, so we just do whatever they want, and, you know, chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
You know.
So how would you like to close? What are some of the things that you would like to leave us with for today? Because this was a great interview. You were wonderful.
I would say really, I guess the only thing I'd really want to say is from an entrepreneurial standpoint, people who are looking to, you know, do their own business. And if something I just blogged about, this is the thing I blogged about yesterday on my website, was about opportunities for older entrepreneurs. And, you know, it'll be 15 years this December that I started Samson Media. Again, I left a six-figure job, you know, VP of production at an agency in New York to start this, and it was terrifying, you know, to really, you know, take that leap. And you know, I sold that pet business, and then I jumped into this because the margins are very low on selling pet supplies, but on doing services, I found, you know, doing a newsletter, you know, the profit was whatever. Anyway, it was just obvious to me that, you know, the services was so much more profitable than making, you know, $8 on a bag of dog treats. So my only regret after having made the jump was that I didn't do it sooner.
Wow. I
should have done it 10 years earlier, because I'd be that much further along than now. And you know, it's been something that I've just really treasured. And the fact also that we've all worked virtually. All my guys, they all work from home. They're all in New Jersey, except one, he's in North Carolina. And you know, when the pandemic hit, you know, we didn't miss a beat. I was renting an office in Fairfield for meetings, which we don't have anymore. But you know, we really didn't miss a beat during the pandemic. We were able to keep working. So working from home after commuting into New York for 20-something years, it just wore me to the nub. You know, I was there on 9/11. It was just, you know, just anyway. So my parting advice was, if you have an idea, you need to have the idea, you need to have a plan of some sort, and you need to have a budget, but do it.
Excellent.
That's an inspiration.
Excellent. Yes, I've put us back to gallery view. Well, I think if somebody needs a website and marketing advice, they should come and talk to you, Gene. So SamsonMedia.net, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
We also now own SamsonMedia.com, but we are known for SamsonMedia.net. But either way, we'll get you there.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.